Thanks for joining us on this K-Learn Quick Connect. I'm Deanne Conrad, and this is Sue McAdare. She's the elementary curriculum coordinator for our district, and we wanted to give some information to parents about a change that they're going to be seeing regarding the report cards.
Sure.
So tell us a little bit about, we are moving from the traditional model of a report card to standards-based grading. This is something that the middle school is a little bit farther ahead on than our elementary, but let's talk about what parents might see.
Okay. You know, we're moving, like you said, moving toward the standards base, and actually we're not exactly quite there yet, but we're working towards really giving teachers and giving parents an idea of exactly what their children know and understand in any given area. So obviously the subjects that we teach are divided into standards or learning topics, and we want to be able to tell parents what their child knows and understands in relation to those standards. And we want to give as clear a picture of that as possible.
Okay. I seem to remember elementary grading as, you know, S and those types of things, not satisfactory, satisfactory. Are those methods still going to be used?
Good question. At the primary level, kindergarten first and second, they will be graded as they were last year with a P for proficient, an I for is improving, and an N for needs to improve or not there yet, is what I kind of like to think of it as. At the intermediate grades, they'll still get a grade, an A, B, C, D, or F, but they'll get them in more areas than they did before. Previously, you might get a math grade. So your grade in math for this quarter is a B. This year, you'll be looking at individual learning topics because at every grade level, we teach algebra, we teach number sense, we teach geometry, we teach data, we teach measurement, we teach lots of different strands under mathematics. So whatever they've been working with that quarter, they'll have a grade. So it's possible that they could have 3 grades in math in one quarter. They may have a B in algebra, but maybe they really excelled in number sense and they have an A there. And maybe they just started working in geometry and they're just getting started, so maybe they're not quite there yet. They might even have a C. But those grades are going to continue building throughout the year. So at the end of the year, we believe that you'll have a very clear picture of what kids know and understand in each of those strands, as opposed to just math.
Okay, so it's a deeper level of understanding for the parent.
That's what we're hoping.
And it also provides a deeper level of understanding for teachers to determine where there might be gaps in instruction or whether in just what the student might be able to comprehend at that level.
Teachers are finding it's a challenge to grade in this way because they really are diving into deep understanding of what the child knows and understands. And they're also looking just at mastery. So rather than, for example, grading everything that the child does from the very beginning of the quarter all the way to the end of that quarter, they're really looking at what is the evidence of mastery? What shows that I've really mastered this topic? I like to compare it to those of us who drive. When we first learned to drive, we wouldn't have wanted the driver's license inspector to be sitting next to us when we first started driving in that parking lot.
Right.
We don't want that score where we hit the curbs to be anywhere near our actual score. We want to be judged upon our ability now to drive a car because we can do it now. And so that's the basis upon which we got our driver's license, not on an average of everything that we did along the way.
Right.
So that's another, maybe a shift, because we're going to see true mastery of where they are. Now, that doesn't mean that every single child will reach mastery at the same time or at the same level. So that's where the teacher's responsibility will be to convey to that parent, you know what, here's the standard and your child is not quite there yet, but here's where they started and here's how they've improved. So even though they're not quite where we'd like them to be yet, we know they're working toward that. And we'll be in contact with you if there's anything that falls below or anything like that. On the other side of that coin, if they're going above the grade level standard, maybe this child just really excels in some area, we need to convey that to parents as well.
So that they can have additional, you know, enhanced lessons or whatever the case is.
Yes.
So this may seem a little confusing to parents, but talk me through when they get the report card. Will they get the report card after conferences, before conferences, or what do they do when they get it and they think, oh, I'm not really sure what to say here or what this says?
Yeah, we have a parent guide that will come out, and different buildings at the elementary levels are kind of handling that in different ways. Sometimes they're sending that out ahead of time. Sometimes they'll have that available right the night of conferences. It's always going to be available so parents can get it. Same with the report card. There are some schools that elect to send it home early. Some talk about it right there at conference time. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what will happen. But when they get that report card, they'll notice that there is a ranking for the academic topics in the primary grades of that proficient, needs to improve, is improving, and the intermediate will have the letter grade. But in addition to that, the other piece of standards-based grading is that we know that effort, for example, how hard you work at something, really does make a difference in how well you do. Mm-hmm. We recognize that, but we want to share that information with parents in a separate location on the report card.
Okay.
So we will have numbers that indicate how well they're doing in some of these behavioral objectives, like stays on task, pays attention to what they're doing, talks at the appropriate times. That's always a big one at the elementary grade.
I'm sure mine would have been low in that category.
Yeah, so then we rank them according to if they get a 1, that means rarely. They're rarely talking at the appropriate times. They really need to work on that. 2 would be occasionally. We're seeing some growth. 3 would be usually, and 4 is consistently. They've got that behavior down and they know how to do that. But we're not letting that information influence what they know about that standard.
About the topic.
That's the most important part. Exactly. Right. So if maybe I can master everything that I need to know about algebra and get an A in algebra, even though I do have this annoying behavior of talking all the time during class. So I don't want that talking all the time to cause the teacher to lower my grade because he needs to behave. We're going to report that to parent because it is important and it does influence what they're able to do. But we want to report that separately.
In a separate.
So we're kind of trying to kind of separate out all aspects of learning and make sure that we're reporting things more in little small pieces rather than just one
general.
Exactly.
Sort of, here's your grade.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So parents are really going to have to practice patience with this and know that, this is not, while we are cutting edge in a lot of things, this is kind of the direction things are going, and it's meant to give more information to families.
It is.
So that they can support their learners in whatever way.
And the teachers are always there, anxious to talk about what their child knows and understands. We've found that teachers are spending lots of time talking with each other about what their students know and understand, and really we believe this will give a much more clear picture to parents about what their kids can do.
So a little change, but be prepared for it. Ask questions when you get those report cards and you're not sure exactly what it says. And know that we'll support parents, and we hope that you will support your students also at home. Thanks so much for joining us on this K-Learn Quick Connect.